Welcome to the Building a Better You podcast, presented by the Garner Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals. I'm Nick Spindler with Community of Hope Ministries.
And I'm Chris Morgan with Grow Local Realty.
The goal of this podcast is to help young professionals develop and grow into successful business people in their communities.
And each episode, we will talk with local business leaders to provide strategies and tips to help our listeners.
So let's dive right in. Welcome back to Building a Better You, sponsored by Coastal Credit Union. And this week, in-house, we actually have with us Tarkisha Poole from Coastal Credit Union. We are so excited to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting and sponsoring this. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do with Coastal?
Yes, so I am in the community impact space. A lot of what we do includes convening and coordinating human and financial resources to improve the lives of the people we serve in our communities. And it does spread across several pillars for us to not only cultivate those partnerships, but allocate funding to those partnerships, promote activities and events for those partnerships, bring awareness to a lot of those partnerships, and we have special emphasis on financial education, well-being, and just a number of other focuses that I'm sure we'll share today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's awesome. And so the first question we want to ask you, I guess it's technically the second, but, why does Coastal want to, sponsor the podcast, sponsor this space, and invest, in the young professionals in this group?
So in our work, we have been connecting with the Garner community for years now. And one of the things that has developed out of that partnership is this opportunity to invest into our young professionals. And it's important for us because our young professionals are our future.
Absolutely.
Our young professionals are the ones that are coming behind us, and they are the ones who are paving the way for what business communities look like in the future. And for us, it's important to not only support it, but be in the midst of that work. And so this, for us, is more of a community space. It's a community space for us to provide information to those who are within that young professional community here, also to provide resources, connect to different organizations, collaborative partnerships will take place here. And so it was important for us to put that stamp of approval on the space.
That's awesome.
Look at there. I mean, I just feel real good. I feel just makes me all warm and fuzzy
you
inside.
Feel validated?
Yeah. I mean, and it's good. It's like you said, investing in young professionals because they are the next wave coming through. So, I mean,
absolutely,
I'm a huge fan of that. And so we definitely want to thank you personally from a young professional. Thank you guys for sure being that resource for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's a huge part of why we have this podcast, because if we ignore that group, then, in 10, 15, 20 years, when they don't have those foundational pieces, and like we were even talking about how before we started recording, how the foundational pieces are important of why you said like encourage people to still have checks,
Yes.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Foundation is important. It's
Ow.
important. And that's what we use to build to get to that next next wave, that next step. So
yeah, absolutely. And so in addition to like Coastal being a part of this, you yourself are also a board member at the Chamber.
Woohoo!
And so clearly, if you're going to make that kind of commitment, that kind of investment, you think that the Chamber is an important part of a community. And so why do you think a healthy and thriving Chamber is important to the community?
absolutely. Why wouldn't we? Is a really a better question for us. Why wouldn't we? Chambers are the heartbeat of the community, specifically to the business community. When you think about individuals who may be sick, they go to the hospital. You think about individuals who need financial guidance, you come to Coastal Credit Union. And then you think about businesses who need support, who need to be encouraged in their work and need resources and access to information. And that's sort of the lens that we see the chambers.
Yeah.
And you think about how many chambers there are across even just the triangle and where we serve. And so how many businesses are thriving as a result of the chamber, and what would they have done without it? And this gives us even access to those small businesses, and allows us to come to one place essentially and figure out how can we create deeper collaborative partnerships. How can we ensure that we are growing our communities by investing back into our businesses, finding out what it is that they need, and coming up with creative ways to meet them and serve that need. And that's the beauty of the chamber. That's the importance of the chamber. And I'm proud to serve in the chamber space, and that's sort of what drives the work.
Yeah.
It is important for young professionals to get
the experience.
Yes. And stay connected to chambers and boards in general. It really does give you a good foundation to have how to navigate in the business space.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It really does.
And that's so good, because before I came to Community of Hope 7 years ago, I had heard of a Chamber of Commerce, but I couldn't tell you the first thing about what a Chamber of Commerce did. And, since when I got there, Amy, our executive director, was like, all right, you're going to start coming with me to these events. We're going to start getting you plugged in. And as I started to learn, I'm like, man, if I had known about this, years ago, there are so many skills or
networking
relationships I could have built, or all those things. And since I have invested the time, I can see the fruit of that investment. And so that's, why, like you said, it's important for young professionals to learn about that, to hear about that. And for we call them seasoned professionals to spend the time investing in them, because it's really easy just to let folks get caught up in the day-to-day routine of your job or your career. And so to make availability for those people to come to whether it's a business after hours or one of the young professional leadership development lunches or those things, it's important to make space for that.
Exactly. And boards need that fresh outlook on the work. They also need that fresh voice on the work. And some of my training ground came from being part of boards and giving input on committees, and that develops you as a professional and connects you to many different people throughout the organizations that you're serving. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's kind of switch gears here, because we've talked a lot about the chamber and that side, but let's talk about the banking side for a little bit. And so with young professionals, we get into careers, you get that first salary, you're like, oh man, check out this sweet paycheck I'm getting, after I just racked up all this debt from college. But so what is a wise decision that a young professional can make when it comes to how they bank?
I cannot stress this enough. Sit down with a financial planner. Sit down with a financial planner. And I say that because it's going back to the reference of the hospital. You go there when you know something's not right with me. It's easy to not be proactive in your financial planning and just say, all right, well, I'll just wait till I have to. Right. We encourage as many young people as possible, whether you are at the place of buying your home or not, if that's something that you want to do, you need to go ahead and start figuring out, all right, well, what position do I need to be in to get there? Yep. And those are the things that help kind of push you a little bit further so that when you have situations, you don't freak out, for lack of a better word. And we also conduct financial education sessions in our public schools and a lot of other community spaces. Awesome. And one of the things we share in there is the importance of having emergency funds, because it's not if something is going to happen.
When something.
It is when.
Absolutely.
And we're in a fast-paced society. We're always on the go.
Mm-hmm.
So for young professionals, the best piece of advice we can give you is to sit down with someone and to plan out where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, like, we both have our real estate license, and so many times when you talk to young people, like, well, I'd love to buy, but I've got to save up for my down payment or this or that. And, like, a lot of times when you're, first in your career, you're probably single, you don't have a ton of expenses. You probably don't have kids or like those kind of things. It could be easier to start setting that money aside,
right.
But you're also like, ooh, well, now I can buy this and now I can buy that. And so, for me personally, like when I got to that point, had I sat down with someone and they explained it to me, I probably would have made some different decisions and put some money in a few different accounts, to start saving towards that, because
right.
that was the boat I was in when I wanted to buy my first house of like, oh, I need that much money. Didn't think about that.
And it's not a one size fit all. And I think that's where we get sort of off track. It's not a one size fit all. You can't take 5 steps and say, oh, well, I'll just apply that to everything I'm doing. Because where you are financially may not be where, this person is financially. So you cannot base your journey on someone else's. So that's just another thing. And social media makes that hard. Because we're seeing, what everybody else is doing, and then we just apply all. And that's really not a thing. We need to slow down and make the selections that apply to us.
Right.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. And
I wish I knew about the that class piece, and we had that in school growing up. I'm like, oh, that'd be great.
We had it too. We did not have it.
No. And it's so important because, in my opinion, like there should be like some kind of standard class in high school that's kind of like life 101. Like let's learn how to balance a checkbook. Let's learn like how to
write a check,
build a resume, write a check. Yeah, like and unfortunately there's not. So like classes that y'all offer, like those are huge.
It's huge, and now thankfully it's more conversation around it. So it does make that work a little bit easier. And while we may not have had it, those who are coming up behind us will have.
That's awesome.
Will have access to.
And it's all through the community.
Yes.
And I love what you said about how there's not one size fits all, because we all have different goals too. And so someone's goal might not be to like save up and buy a house. It might be they want to travel or, whatever it might be. And so I think, that's why you need to sit down with a financial planner, because you're going to have a specific goal and a specific role or place you're in. And so it's not cookie cutter of like, here, you can't just Google search what's the 5, steps to financial freedom. You probably can, and you'll get an article, but it probably won't be the best advice for you. So yeah, that's really good.
Exactly.
As we come in for a landing on all of our episodes, we have the 2 questions that we ask everybody. And so the first one is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's a toughie, isn't it?
The best piece.
Like you got it's got to be your top of the top. Your what is it? The cream of the crop? Is that what it's called? Yeah. It's got to be that. It's got to be that good.
The best piece of advice that I've ever gotten was, there is only one you. So if you don't show up, there will always be a missing piece to the puzzle.
That's deep. That's real deep right there.
So just let that.
I know, right? Like let it
right? Marinate,
That's the best piece of advice I've gotten, because it allows you to realize the value that you bring to certain spaces. It removes you comparing yourself to others, because there's like you are only you're the only you there is. So you're unique, and there's something about you that no one else has it. It's like your DNA, like no one else has it. So it's stuck with me, and it causes me to make sure that I'm showing up in spaces.
That's good.
So that there's not something missing.
Like, That's really deep.
Just soak it in.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like a
That's good one.
sponge, man. I hope
Yeah.
y'all are listening out there.
Yeah.
So my question, and that's the second question to really bring us home, is what is one thing that you utilize every day to help better yourself? I know. I'm telling you, it's. You thought Nick was gonna bring the heat.
Well, no, y'all are gonna so laugh. So, I somehow I miss. Okay, to better myself. That last part, to better myself, I just skipped over that part.
Hey,
Oh,
it's,
And
you
I
know,
said the best thing.
What's one thing you use every day?
Yeah.
It probably does
Ways.
better.
It probably.
There you go.
Wait. Hang on.
Listen, hold on.
Explain.
Let me explain it though. The Waze app.
Uh-huh.
Here's why. You know how you can know where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know what lies ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what obstacles are in front of you. You don't know what roadblocks, what
Yep.
detours.
Mm-hmm.
I put on Waze even if I know where I'm going.
Mm.
Not because I don't know where I'm going, but because I don't know what is along the path that I'm going.
That's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
And here's how it helps me.
Okay.
If you're stuck in traffic, 9 times out of 10, I am
You're
going
not.
the back road that Waze is taking me, and I will see you when you get there.
That's awesome.
Okay.
She will not be late to meetings.
Right.
I
because of
will see
traffic.
you when you get there. Now I won't go that far,
Okay.
but I will see you when you get there, and that I'm telling, and that can be used in so many different ways.
Mhm.
I mean,
And-
you really can also bring it even not just from a actually using Waze itself. I mean, you could just think about, your career path that you're on. You don't
Yes.
know what obstacles are coming your direction.
Or opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
or opportunities.
Yeah.
But that's where your connections come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your chamber comes in. That's where your credit union comes in to help you navigate
Yeah.
those
'Cause, yeah,
spaces.
speaking to that, like the token interview question that I quote unquote love is that you'll always get asked, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And my answer is always not at this table. Like I didn't see myself here 5 years ago, like in every job I've had, like the past 2, 3, 4,
Mm-hmm.
this is not where I thought I would be 5 years ago. And so, yeah, you got to be
That's
ready
good.
to make those adjustments for those
Yes.
opportunities or obstacles.
I will say I was not ready for you to say the Waze app.
But see, that's the beauty.
But
I
that
love
is
this question.
that's good. That's
So we've
good.
got everything from Waze to like composting.
Yes.
Like this is like I love it. Like it's such a great
You're
question.
not sure
'cause
what you're gonna get.
You never know what you're gonna get. It's
I
awesome.
was looking at the app part,
Yeah.
and that is my favorite app.
It is a good one.
I'm
Because I'm the same way. There's like 4 different ways I can go home. And so I always check before I leave because I'm like, if there's traffic this way, I can go this way. And if it's over here, I can go over here. And so, yeah,
Yes.
I always check it. Yeah.
You have to check it.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. That is a good one.
Waze, I'm telling you. And I've used other apps. I'm not going to throw shade on other apps, but Waze
It gets the
tells
job
me
done.
the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Tells the truth.
10.0 on the trustworthiness.
Right?
Yes, Waze
Well,
tells me.
Tarkisha, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited to have you on, and I'm grateful for your time.
And thank you for having me. And Coastal Credit Union is always excited to partner with the communities we serve.
We are super excited to have Coastal Credit Union on as sponsoring this and supporting us. And we kind of joked about it at the beginning, but it does mean a lot because,
Yes.
we just kind of dived into this whole thing not knowing where it would go and if anybody would care.
We
And
didn't
so-
look at our Waze app.
Yeah.
Yes. We didn't look at our Waze app.
I didn't look at the
That's
Waze
awesome.
app. I love
We
it.
we didn't see the sponsorship.
Yeah,
coming
we
in.
didn't
It
see.
came right
Yeah,
out
it's
of
like
left
the,
field. We
yeah,
just ran right
exactly.
into
We were
it.
like,
Yeah.
"Thank you, baby. We appreciate it."
But yeah, so we are thankful for all you do. Thankful for all Coastal does, supporting the podcast, the chamber, and even just out in the community as we talked about. So thank you for your time, and we will put your contact information into the show notes. So if people want to reach out, then the part that we have to say every time that we really don't like saying is please go if you're enjoying what you're hearing, please go rate, review, subscribe. Whatever podcast app you're listening on, throw us 5 stars. I'm gonna say it one more time just because
Whoa.
it's tradition.
Can you?
I I can.
You got to tell the
go.
viewers?
Yeah, so I can. So if it's a 1-star review, I'm going to do it one more time. You can send it to Dustin. He's not at the Garner Chamber anymore, but his email is dustin@fuquaverina-chamber.com. So,
Talk about a tongue twister.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's lengthy, but keep on sending them to Dustin. I'm gonna say it at least this one last time.
Still send them to Dustin.
1-star reviews can go to Dustin.
It's okay because they're at a different chamber.
That's
It's
right,
fine.
exactly.
We won't see them here at the Garner Chamber.
But thank y'all for listening, and we'll be back with you soon.
Gotta be very
And
careful.
that's all you're going to say.
That's all I'm gonna say.
You didn't have to see me hit the record button. You could just kept talking.
I know, but in my head I'm
He's
thinking
like,
I had to
wait a
look over there.
minute.
It's like, let me make sure
Yeah, he's like,
he's not
wait a minute.
recording.